Today, we're plunging into the surprisingly dramatic story behind sushi, a global favorite. You sent over Trevor Corson's The Story of Sushi, an unlikely saga of raw fish and rice. And wow, it's packed with unexpected insights.
Really is.
Get ready to have your perception of this, seemingly simple dish completely transformed.
Absolutely. Because what looks like just, well, fish and rice, it has this fascinating centuries-long history, full of cultural shifts, clever innovations, even some pretty funny moments along the way.
Right.
So our goal today is really to unpack that journey, from its ancient roots all the way to how we enjoy it today, especially in America, highlighting the key moments and the people who really shaped it.
Exactly. I mean, when you stop and think, how did this food become such a worldwide thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so where does the story actually begin? Because it's not with those, elegant little nigiri pieces we see everywhere, is it?
No, not at all. The earliest form, it really came from a basic need, preserving food. Probably started somewhere in Southeast Asia, actually.
Yeah.
Picture this.
Yeah.
Fish packed in, just tons of salt.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the fish guts actually played a role.
Gut. Uh-oh.
Yeah, their digestive enzymes help break down the fish proteins. That, plus the salt, stopped the bad bacteria. And what you got was this fermented fish paste.
Huh.
Sounds a bit odd now, maybe, but it was a crucial way to keep food edible for longer periods.
Fermented fish paste. Okay, yeah. Doesn't sound immediately delicious to modern ears. Did Japan have its own version?
Oh, it did. It's called shiokara. And even today, it's considered a bit of an adventurous taste.
Adventurous, right?
Yeah, many find the flavor pretty intense, salty, strong. But what's really wild is that the ancient Romans had something very similar called garum.
No way. Garum.
Yeah, and it apparently was incredibly popular back then. So this whole idea of preserving fish this way, it wasn't just some obscure thing. It had a real history. Makes you think about how much tastes changed, doesn't it?
Wow, Romans eating something like shiokara. Okay, so how do we get from that intense paste to something closer to sushi?
Well, the next step, this is maybe around the 1600s in Japan, was a lightly fermented mix. Fish and rice together,
Okay.
known as namanari. Sort of means ready raw. They aged the fish and rice together, but for a shorter time, maybe weeks, maybe just days. But here's the key thing.
Yeah.
The rice, at this point, still mostly for preservation. It wasn't really meant to be eaten with the fish, almost like packing material that added a bit of tang.
So the rice was just disposable almost. That's wild. When did it become, a part of the actual meal?
That big change happened in the 17th century. It came from steak production, actually.
Yeah.
They figured out how to make rice vinegar efficiently.
Ah, vinegar.
Exactly. People realized adding vinegar to cooked rice gave it that tart taste instantly, like fermentation, but way faster. And crucially, the acid in the vinegar stopped fermentation and killed bacteria.
Okay, so it solved two problems: taste and preservation.
Precisely. It completely flipped the role of rice. Suddenly, it wasn't just a preservation tool, it was a key part of the flavor and texture. This quick sushi, hayazushi, took off. No more waiting weeks for fermentation.
Ah, the birth of instant gratification sushi. That makes sense. And I guess this shifted it from just preserving fish to actually making a dish.
Exactly right. Sushi started becoming its own thing, a meal in itself, not just a side product of preservation. And as it became more that enjoyment, less about pure necessity, it also started getting fancier, a bit of a luxury item.
Right.
Sushi makers began using better ingredients, especially fresh ocean fish, trying to appeal to, wealthier clients. This is where flavor and the whole experience really started to take center stage.
From fish guts to fancy fish. Quite the glow up. Now, the book talks a lot about Edo, modern-day Tokyo, being crucial for modern sushi. What happened there?
Right, so around 1600, the capital moves to Edo. It grows fast.
Yeah.
Then about 50 years later, there's this massive fire, huge destruction.
Oh, wow.
During the rebuilding, tons of workers flood into the city. They need food quick and cheap. So street food stalls just explode in popularity. Hot noodle soup is apparently the big thing.
Okay, yeah, I can picture that. Bustling streets, hungry workers grabbing noodles. Where does sushi fit in?
Well, here's a funny twist. In 1686, the authorities, trying to prevent more fires, actually banned hot noodle stands during dinner hours.
They banned noodles.
Hot ones, yeah,
Huh.
during dinner. And this, completely unintentionally, created a massive opportunity for that quick sushi, hayazushi.
Because it was cold.
Exactly. It was ready to go, no cooking needed, no fire hazard, a perfect heat-free alternative. It's amazing how a rule like that could just change food history.
Talk about an accidental boost. So no hot noodles equals more sushi.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And this is where we really see Edo Mizushi emerge. Idome means in front of Ido, originally referring to like eels from the local rivers.
Okay.
But sushi vendors started using the term probably to boast that their fish came right from the bay, super local.
Yeah.
Ido Bay to table.
Huh. Local sourcing, 17th century style. So what were they putting on this Idomi street sushi?
Well, since it was street food, it was pretty simple stuff. Things like boiled clam, abalone, saltwater eel, small fish from the bay. But interestingly, the most prized fish back then, kohara. Gizzard chat.
Not exactly top of the menu today.
Right. And another popular one was shirao whitebait. Tiny little translucent fish, almost look like worms.
Worms, seriously.
Apparently, they were a favorite of the shogun himself, Tokugawa Ieyasu. It just shows how much taste can shift over time, doesn't it?
Worm-like fish for the shogun.
Wow.
Okay. Definitely puts my spicy tuna roll in perspective. Right, let's leap forward. How does sushi conquer America?
That story really gets going after World War II. There's this key figure, Noritoshi Kanai, and his company, Mutual Trading. Initially, they sold Japanese goods mainly to Japanese immigrants in the U.S., the homesickness trade, you could call it.
Makes sense.
And there's this incredible side story about how they managed to save their warehouse stock during the internment years with help from some Catholic nuns. Just amazing Brazilians.
Wow, that's a piece of history I didn't know. So how did Kanai pivot from serving the Japanese community to targeting, average Americans?
Well, Kanai realized they needed a bigger market to really grow. So in the early 60s, he started going back and forth between Japan and the U.S., looking for products that might catch on with Americans.
And did he find anything?
Some of his first tries were, let's just say, not huge hits.
Uh-oh. Like what?
Canned snake meat. Chocolate-covered
The
ants.
snake meat. Okay, yeah, I can see why that didn't take off.
Exactly. Shows you how tricky predicting tastes can be.
So what finally worked? What was the breakthrough?
It was actually a sushi meal. On one trip, he brought an American business partner, Harry Wolf. After a day of failed meetings, Kanai wanted sushi, so he took Wolf to a traditional place in LA's Little Tokyo.
And Wolf liked it.
Apparently so, because in 1970, they opened the first sushi bar outside Little Tokyo. Osho, it was called, in Century City, right near Hollywood.
Smart move. Go for the movie crowd.
That was exactly the plan. Get the stars hooked, and hopefully everyone else follows.
Did it work? Did Hollywood bite?
It totally did. The actor Yul Brynner became a regular. Certainly, sushi was seen as this exotic, cool, sophisticated food, though early customers were often pretty clueless. A lot of people were genuinely shocked that tuna meat was red. They only knew the white stuff from cans.
The great red tuna reveal, I can just imagine. And sushi started popping up elsewhere too, not just LA.
Oh yeah. In New York, places like Nippon started serving raw fish.
Yeah.
Then the first dedicated sushi place, Takezushi, opened in '75. Chicago got Kamihachi even earlier, like '67.
Kamehachi, wasn't that Belushi spot?
That's the one. John Belushi was a regular. And later, he did that famous samurai deli chef skit on SNL. Sushi was definitely entering the mainstream consciousness.
Samurai Futaba. Classic.
Right.
Now, the book highlights Toshi Segura and home events in LA as being really influential. What was his deal?
Toshi had this really unique approach. Very welcoming, but also kind of pushy in a good way. He wouldn't just give people what they thought they wanted. He'd introduce them to more unusual stuff. Sea urchin, gonads, things like that.
Wow.
His motto was basically just eat it. Try it. If you like it, great. If not, he'd find something else. His place got super popular, lots of celebrities. He really helped broaden people's horizons about what sushi could be.
Just eat it. I like that sushi philosophy. Bold. Okay, so sushi's booming. Must have meant a huge demand for chefs, right? But becoming a sushi chef traditionally takes ages?
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah, traditionally 5, maybe even more years of apprenticeship. But Toshi saw this huge American demand growing. So in 1998, he did something pretty radical.
What is that?
He founded the California Sushi Academy. The whole idea was to train chefs in months, not years. A massive shortcut compared to tradition.
A formal sushi school
Right.
in America. That must have ruffled some feathers back in Japan.
Oh, absolutely. He even hired instructors. And when they opened, guess what? 3/4 of the first applicants weren't even Asian. Yeah. Toshi took them all. He kind of knew his peers back home might think he was nuts, opening up this very traditional closed world. But his logic was simple. Americans love sushi now, so let's train Americans to make it.
Pretty pragmatic. Did it actually change things?
Definitely. It wasn't the only school eventually, but being the first formal program in the U.S., it sped things up massively, made the profession more accessible, you could say.
So who are these students? The book focuses on Kate, 20 years old, Irish-Italian, Not exactly the typical image.
Right, Kate. Pierced belly button, no stud. And what's amazing is it genuinely didn't occur to her that it was weird for a woman, especially a non-Japanese one,
Yeah.
to want to do this. She just thought, why not? Her whole attitude challenged those old norms.
But it wasn't easy for her at the academy, was it? Sounds like she hit some bumps.
Oh, for sure. Right away, challenges. Her knife skills weren't quite there compared to others. And there's that story where her expensive new knives rusted overnight.
Yeah.
Got called out by the instructor, Zoran. For a bit, she really felt like she was drowning, just trying to keep up. It really highlights the level of precision and, frankly, dedication you need. Rusted knives. Tough lesson. And cultural differences in the kitchen, too.
Definitely. Toshi taught them greetings like "irashimasu," that loud welcome you hear.
Right.
He explained that back in old Tokyo, sushi chefs were actually really boisterous, loud guys, which kind of goes against the American stereotype of Japanese culture being quiet and reserved, shows how much context matters.
So less hushed reverence, more lively market stall vibe behind the counter back then. Got it. Okay, let's talk rice. The book hammers home how important the rice is, maybe even more than the fish.
A lot of traditional chefs would absolutely say it's more important. The goal is perfect grains. Firm, plump, just the right stickiness. It's way more complex than just cooking rice. So many little things affect it.
Like what? It starts before cooking, right? Rinsing?
Yeah.
Polishing? Yeah. Milling leaves this fine starch powder on the grains. If you don't wash that off thoroughly, like rinse till the water runs totally clear, the rice gets too sticky, clumpy.
Yeah.
Some top-grade rice even gets an extra polish, called kapika, gently rubbing the grains together for a final clean, like giving it a little spa treatment before cooking.
A rice spa. Love it. And the type of rice matters too, I assume. Is there a go-to variety?
The gold standard in Japan is usually koshihikari.
Okay.
It has this denser starch core, thicker cell walls, gives it that firm but slightly chewy bite people love.
Oh.
Plus, it has these subtle aromatic fatty acids, adds flavor, makes it feel moist. And just like winemakers blend grapes, top sushi chefs often blend different rice varieties, even different harvests, to get their own signature texture and flavor. It's all about that perfect base.
Blending rice harvests? That's
Yeah.
serious dedication. And the cooking itself must be super precise too.
Oh, incredibly.
Yeah.
Use less water than for regular table rice. Too much water. Mushy rice won't avoid the vinegar, right? Hard grains. Vinegar can't penetrate.
Tricky balance.
Then the seasoning. The vinegar mix, vinegar, sugar, salt. Every chef has their own ratio. The book mentions Hama Hermosa's was like 751 has to be added at exactly the right moment while the rice is cooling. Timing is absolutely everything for even absorption.
Sounds like a science experiment. And there's a food safety angle too, with warm rice.
Huge. Cooked rice is warm, nutritious, perfect playground for bacteria. That acetic acid in the vinegar, it's crucial. Lowers the pH, stops bacteria growing. It's a constant battle the chefs fight. And culturally, remember, rice is huge in Japan. 7 gods in every grain, they say. It's more than just food.
7 gods in every grain. Wow. Okay, so sushi hits America, gets popular, and inevitably it changes. The book talks about American twists and some controversies.
Yeah, Jay, the narrator's friend with Japanese roots, he voices some frustrations, like seeing people dump a ton of wasabi into their soy sauce, making this green sludge that just nukes the fish flavor.
The wasabi bomb. Yeah, I've seen that.
Or dunking the rice-sided nigiri straight into the soy sauce. Eating it in multiple bites. Assuming all sushi is super healthy, even those massive rolls packed with carbs and mayo, all things that are pretty different from traditional ways.
Those giant rolls are definitely an American thing. What are some key examples?
Yeah, the whole uramaki thing, inside-out rolls, that's basically an American invention, not traditional Japanese. Zoran even shows the class how to make a crunchy roll.
Ah, the crunchy roll. What's in that?
Mayonnaise, deep-fried shrimp, cucumber, pickled burdock, and those fried tempura crunchies. He's very clear this is not Japanese food, but, he says, it's a huge moneymaker. Shows how cuisines adapt to local tastes, right?
Deep-fried shrimp and mayo. Definitely a departure. Do Japanese people hate these American rolls?
Interestingly, the book says some Japanese tourists actually enjoy trying them when they visit, kind of a novelty. Apparently, avocado gets jokingly called the toro of the fields in some casual spots in Japan.
Toro of the fields. That's brilliant. Okay, back to basics. Nigiri. Making it look simple, but the book breaks down the precision needed. It's not just fish on rice.
Not at all. Zoran really drills down on cutting the fish, the nita. It has to be the exact right angle. Get the length, width, thickness perfect for that specific piece, and you lay the presentation side down first, so when you pick it up, the best side faces the customer. Even how the knife moves matters for texture.
And the rice shaping. Also critical.
Hugely. Perfect nigiri. Firm enough to pick up, but it should almost dissolve in your mouth. Let the rice and fish just mingle. Ideally, the grains run along the length, helps hold it together without packing it too tight. Squeezing it hard is actually bad form. It's all about that delicate balance.
Delicate is the word. Texture and flavor working together. And how we order it is different too. US versus Japan.
Yeah, here, people often order like 6 pieces of salmon nigiri at once, like an appetizer. In Japan, it's more common to order 1 or 2 pieces at a time. Try this, then try that. A series of little bites, different toppings. It's more of a curated journey, letting the chef guide you.
A journey, not just a platter. That makes sense. Now, the book introduces omakase and kaiseki. Sounds like the next level up.
Definitely. Omakase means I leave it up to you. It's you telling the chef, okay, impress me, give me your best, freshest stuff. It shows real trust. And Zoran argues that top sushi chefs need more than just nigiri skills. They need kaiseki skills too.
Kaiseki. That's like super formal Japanese multi-course dining, right? That's the connection.
Exactly. Kaiseki grew out of meals served during traditional tea ceremonies. Zoran shows the students pictures of these incredibly intricate kaiseki-style appetizers past students made. The idea is serious sushi mastery comes from this broader culinary foundation. And those fancy omakase meals, they echo the extravagant sushi feasts rich merchants had back in Edo. Sushi at its peak is part of this bigger, refined tradition.
From street food to high art. Amazing. Okay, let's talk nori. The seaweed wrapper. Seems simple, but the book says it has a weird history.
Totally weird. For ages, nori was rare and expensive. Why? Because nobody knew how the laver seaweed actually reproduced. Where did the seeds come from? Farmers were just hoping for the best each season.
Seriously, they didn't know how seaweed grew.
Not this specific kind. Until 1949, a British botanist, Kathleen Drew Baker, figured it out.
A British woman solved the Japanese seaweed mystery. That's unexpected.
Isn't it? She discovered this microscopic stage of the laver that bores into seashells. Her work let Japanese farmers finally seed their nets reliably, made farming way more efficient. And here's another twist. While Japanese people mostly eat nigiri, it's the American obsession with rolls that's become a huge driver for the nori industry today.
So our love for California rolls helped save the nori business. Wild. Shifting gears a bit, gender in the sushi world. The book touches on this, especially in Japan, still very male-dominated.
Very much so. There's even a popular comic book series in Japan, Sushi Chef Kira's Job, about a young woman trying to make it in that world. It reflects reality.
Why is it so male-dominated?
Well, male chefs traditionally cite things like women wear makeup or perfume that could interfere with the fish smell, or they lack the right reflexes or stamina. Until 1999, there was even a law preventing women from working late hours, which basically barred them from most sushi jobs.
Wow.
And the book tells a story about a rude customer at Hama Hermosa demanding a Japanese male chef. Shows those biases are still around.
And Kate felt some of that too, even in the U.S. school.
Yeah, she sensed that maybe Zoran, her instructor, didn't always expect as much from her as the guys. It highlights the ongoing challenges women face in this field, even outside Japan.
Okay, not all serious lessons though. The school catered a party at Paramount Pictures on a movie set.
Yeah, talk about surreal. They're hired for a party on a set, built to look like the Old West. Cowboys, prop guns everywhere. And there are Kate and her classmates, carefully making delicate sushi in the middle of this fake Wild West shootout scene. Total culture clash.
I would have paid to see that. And wasn't there a robot involved?
Oh, yeah. Tashi brought his GTO robot, a machine that presses sushi rice automatically. And of course, it broke down immediately.
So much for technology.
Right. Kind of funny, contrasting this modern gadget failing with the fact that the earliest quick sushi was literally pressed in wooden boxes using stones. A bit different.
Stones to robots on movie sets. Sushi tech. Okay, sourcing the fish, obviously key. The book describes a fish market trip.
Yeah, Zoran and Tetsu going super early shows the expertise needed. Checking the clarity of a bonito's eye for freshness, picking out squid, giant clam, that prized gizzard shad again, even getting fatty bluefin tuna belly flown in all the way from Croatia.
Croatian tuna.
Yeah.
Wow, global supply chain indeed.
And it stresses how critical freshness is. It's a race against time, against temperature, getting that seafood from the ocean to the sushi bar perfectly. High stakes.
Definitely. So you get the perfect fish, then you have to prepare it. The book mentions grilling mackerel, saba, as another skill.
Right, another omakase essential. And it shows Kate struggling again, faced with a whole fish. Cleaning it, cutting it, a bit squeamish, inexperienced, contrasts sharply with the skilled female chef in that comic book.
Right.
It also explains a bit of the science how cooking fish is different from meat. Fish enzymes can break down flavor and texture fast if you don't cook it right. And Kate's first attempt ends up kind of burnt. Another tough lesson.
Burnt mackerel. Learning the hard way. Now, sushi wasn't just staying in LA and New York. It started spreading inland to the heartland.
Yeah, Jeff, this contact from the school, he's reporting demand for sushi chefs in places like Kansas City, Milwaukee, Boise, unexpected places, right? And a big part of that is takeout sushi showing up in supermarkets. Franchises like Genji Express, Sushi Avenue. For a lot of Americans, especially in the Midwest, that's their first taste of sushi, right there in the grocery aisle.
Supermarket sushi. Definitely a sign it went mainstream.
Any concerns about quality, though, as it spread so fast?
Jeff was worried, yeah, that maybe these new markets would just copy the Americanized stuff, the big rolls, the mayo, without understanding the tradition or quality behind it.
The book also dives into shrimp types.
Oh, yeah?
Like the difference between sweet raw shrimp, ibi, and the smaller cooked kind, ibi. Mentions some environmental concerns with farm shrimp, too, and details the whole laborious process for preparing cooked ibi for sushi. Skewering, boiling, ice bath, peeling, deveining, which students often missed, butterflying. It's a lot of work for one piece of shrimp.
More work than you'd think. And speaking of hidden details, food safety with raw fish, that's got to be huge.
Crucial. The book warns about parasites like Anisakis larvae. Nasty stuff. Which is why, remember, early sushi in 19th-century Tokyo. Almost never raw fish. No refrigeration.
Right. So what did they do?
Lots of preservation. Salting, marinating in vinegar, blanching, searing the outside. Sushi shops back then were even called tukeba, pickling places.
Pickling places. So different. Did those methods affect flavor?
Absolutely, and often in good ways. Salting, marination. The slow enzyme action could develop umami, that rich, savory taste. Salt killed bacteria, too. They even used to have runners carry salted mackerel to Kyoto, timed so it arrived perfectly ripe with umami. Vinegar firmed the fish. Soy sauce helped preserve. All clever pre-fridge techniques.
Amazing how necessity led to flavor development. Okay, more fish skills. Filleting. The book mentions albacore tuna, too.
Right. Zoran demonstrates the sanmai oroshi, the three-piece breakdown on mackerel. Kate's still struggling, uncomfortable. Then they introduce albacore. It's considered lower status than other tunas in Japan, but popular here often the white meat tuna in cans.
Ah.
Because it's softer, it's usually seared for sushi, not served fully raw.
Got it. And what about sashimi? Did that come before sushi?
Yes. Sashimi, just slices of raw meat, not always fish, predates sushi. It was common in ancient Japan and China, still popular in Korea.
Interesting. And tuna itself, maguro, that wasn't always the king.
Nope. Went from kind of undesirable to high-class fish. The book explains the types bluefin, big eye, yellowfin, and their fat levels, where toro comes from the fatty belly, especially otoro.
Right, the expensive stuff.
Explains the red color myoglobin, like red meat, and aging tuna, letting it sit for maybe a week for bluefin to develop flavor. Even before refrigeration, they aged it briefly. Shibi means 4 days.
Aging tuna. Wow. Anything controversial about tuna today?
Yeah, two big things. In the U.S., sometimes they treat it with carbon monoxide to keep it looking bright red. That's banned in Japan. And the huge issue of overfishing, especially bluefin, stocks are really threatened. It's a serious problem.
Okay, so culinary desire versus environmental impact. Tough balance. Filleting a giant tuna must be something else.
Totally. Requires industrial saws, huge knives, the 5-piece breakdown. You can buy different sections, back meat, midsection, belly, just toro, a whole side. Zoran shows how to cut the big eye into blocks for the display case, the Nita case, aiming for those nice rhomboid shapes, showing off the muscle fibers, clearly separating fatty toro from lean akami. It's butchery on a grand scale, but with artistic precision.
Precision again. It's always about precision. Okay, end of the semester is near, final exams looming. What's happening?
Well, while other students are cramming nigiri practice, Kate's in the kitchen making tamagoyaki, the sweet rolled omelet.
Ah, tamago.
So she drops by, critiques everyone's nigiri, says the rolls are okay, but the nigiri needs work. Practice, practice, practice. Meanwhile, Hama Hermosa is super busy. Zoran's about to leave, lots of omakase orders. Tetsu, the head chef, gives an impromptu nigiri lesson.
Oh, yeah. What tips?
Focus on posture, loose arms, the punch hole technique, leaving a little air pocket in the rice. Using your whole body, not just hands, aiming for 5–10 seconds per piece. And practice cooking rice in a regular pot, not just the fancy cooker. Real-world skills.
Sounds intense. Last-minute cramming. Any new ingredients pop up?
Yeah, Tetsu introduces salmon eggs, ikura, and sea urchin, uni. Shares a weird fact about Unishares. 70% of her DNA develops ass first.
Ass first, okay. That's memorable.
Briefly mentions the whole kelp versus urchin ecological battle. Kate practices nigiri on flatfish for her mom, invents a Kate roll. Later, she visits Hama as a customer with friends. Toshi gives her a playful scowl. Tetsu makes her a nigiri. Takumi's even making Italian-style calamari for Japanese customers. Then the exams happen.
Sounds like a whirlwind finish. What happened to Kate after graduation? Did she find her sushi dream job?
Well, first, a sad goodbye lunch with Marcos at a Jewish deli. Zoran has a farewell Korean BBQ with the Hama chefs. Then Kate lands a job at a mall sushi counter.
Oh, not quite Hama Venice then.
No. Mass-producing roles, hardly any customer interaction. Pretty disheartening after all that training and ambition.
Yeah, I bet. Did she stick with it?
She was determined. Started driving around Torrance, looking for a real sushi bar job. But she faced a lot of skepticism, doors closed, especially from established Asian chefs. She ends up back in San Diego for a bit, working in a surf shop. But seeing all the sushi places in Pacific Beach, it just fired her up again. She wasn't giving up.
Good for her, that resilience. Okay, wrapping up. The book gives some tips on sushi bar etiquette, even mentions a funny video.
Yeah, this satirical Japanese video that exaggerates all the rules, how to enter, sit, use soy sauce. It's funny, but hints at real customs.
So what are the main ways to order, generally?
3 main ways in Japan. Okimari, a set menu, fixed price. Okonomi, as I like it, you order piece by piece. And omakase, I leave it up to you, chef's choice. The book explains the flow, suggests knowing the price range for omakase, and trusting the chef.
Good advice. And how to eat the sushi itself.
Ideally, nigiri with your fingers. 1 bite if possible. Fish side down if using soy sauce. But maybe skip the soy if the chef already seasoned it.
Yeah.
Eat it right away. Same for rolls with nori. Eat them quick before the seaweed gets soggy. And ginger. That's a palate cleanser for between different fish, not a topping.
Okay. Fingers, 1 bite, fish down, eat fast, ginger between. Got it. Well, this has been quite the journey. From ancient fish paste to Hollywood robots and crunchy rolls, it's way more complex than I ever imagined.
It really is. We've seen how this simple idea of preserving fish evolved over centuries, shaped by culture, necessity, innovation, individual personalities like Toshi, determined students like Kate.
Yeah.
It's wild to think about Roman garum being like shiokara, or a ban on hot noodles boosting sushi in Edo, or America inventing the inside-out roll.
Absolutely changes how you look at a sushi platter, doesn't it? It makes you want to, I don't know, find a really traditional place, or maybe even brave making sushi rice at home. And it definitely leaves you wondering, sushi's changed so much already. What's next? What kind of crazy, brilliant, or maybe just weird sushi innovations are waiting around the corner?
That is a fascinating question to chew on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.